Okay, we're in Bali, the most overhyped and oversold place in Southeast Asia. How is it? Is it actually nice? Is it as dirty and overcrowded as everybody says? Let's find out.
That's just all I know. Fuck these bitches, get this paper, all this dope. Find me smoke out in the scraper, driving slow. Ride with me, you know you fucking where the from. Cause I just go, that's just all I know.
I'm at 2.5 weeks in Indonesia. I didn't just go to Bali. I also went to 2 other islands called Gili T and Lombok. But all in due time, let's first start with Bali. Yes, indeed, when you go to the places close to the airport, Bali is as dirty and as overcrowded as I imagined. I spent my first 3 nights in Bali in Canggu, which wasn't really a nice place to be honest. Yes, there's tons of cool little shops, but aside from getting drunk every night, there really isn't much to do or to see there. Which in a way worked for me because I got to catch up a little bit on my content production. But the parties were mid anyways, and the beaches weren't particularly nice, so yeah. But I did get to watch some people surf, so that's always pretty cool. So after chilling in Canggu, I made my way up to Ubud, which is supposed to be the more spiritual and naturey side of Bali. And it didn't disappoint in a way. Ubud is filled with amazing waterfalls, rice fields, and beautiful temples. So that's exactly what I went to do. I rented a motorbike and just drove around to see all the natural sights in the region. Unfortunately, the weather was absolutely shit every day I was there. When it wasn't cloudy, it was absolutely pissing rain, which made scooter rides uncomfortable and the natural sights not as incredible as they could be. Ubud was quite a good change of pace though. After sitting my ass down at beaches for the better part of the last month, I was quite happy to be in the backcountry again, where the weather is usually a bit milder and the landscapes are a bit more special in my opinion. However, after a couple days in Bali, I did find the place to be overly touristic and not really for me. Bali isn't really aimed at backpackers in my opinion. It's more for digital nomads or influencers and young Aussies to come to get shit-faced. Well, I'm none of that, so I kind of felt out of place. Anyways, I decided to escape Bali and go island hopping despite my limited time in Indonesia. First stop, Gili T. Gili T is a tiny island just east of Bali, and when I say tiny, I really mean it. You can walk around it in about an hour. But it's not all about size, it's about what you do with it. Gili T is quite nice. It's tropical ambiance and people love the party there. But the island also has quite a nice charm. It's not super developed, there's no cars there, only bikes or horses, so it really feels kind of different there. But once again, there's also not a lot to do aside from watching sunsets and drinking there. Thankfully, I met some nice people there. And I bumped into Kati again in Gili T, so I was very, very happy about that. It's been, however, a bit of a different dynamic socially out here. At some point, I got tired of always having the same conversations of introducing myself, saying where I'm from, where I've been, and where I'm planning on traveling to. See, the thing is that everybody follows almost the same beaten path around Southeast Asia, so those conversations get stale really fucking quick. But as I'm nearing the end of my trip here in Bali, the dynamics kind of changed. I met a lot of people who just started traveling, and it's been really cool getting to share my experiences with them, hearing about their travel plans, and talking about some small travel tips I mustered up that for 3 months of traveling already. That's pretty much all there is to say about Gili T, to be honest. Like I said, it's quite small and I only stayed there for 2 nights. So off to the final stop in Southeast Asia, Lombok.
She holds on and cries forever to sleep on a twin-size mattress in somebody's attic or basement my whole life. Never.
Lombok is like Bali's cooler and wilder cousin in my opinion. More surf, more nature, and less people. So what's not to like? Same with Gili T, the trip to Lombok was a short one, just 2 nights. I set my bags out in Kuta Lombok because that's where all the locals recommended I go, and boy was I not disappointed with Kuta. It's an incredibly beautiful, lovely beach town filled with super nice cafes and restaurants, and around the village there are so many nice beaches and surf spots. So day 1 I just chilled by the pool, had a little nap, recuperated a little bit, and once again I met some pretty cool people there at the hostel. Day 2 in Kuta was much different though. I rented a scooter and drove around the south side of the island, looking at all the different beaches and surf huts and whatnot. I saw some cows, I saw some surfers, and enjoyed the feeling of feeling free on a 2-wheeled vehicle. I didn't really get the opportunity to surf on this trip though, which I'm really disappointed about. I was always running around and never got time to settle down and surf for a bit. But no worries, it'll be something to save for my next trip. But anyways, before I knew it, it was time for my last sunset in Southeast Asia. I almost didn't go because I felt pretty lazy that evening, but in the end I managed to motivate myself and I raced to Bukit Meresi to watch one final sunset, and it was the best one, obviously. Crispy golden skyline, probably the most beautiful sunset I've seen on this trip, if not the most beautiful sunset I've ever seen in my life. It was just peaceful, but also bittersweet. Peaceful because this is how I feel as I'm nearing the end of this journey. I feel like I've made peace with a lot of stuff that was bothering me, and for that I'm very proud of myself. Bittersweet because as I was driving away from this beautiful sunset, I was reminiscing at all of the insane moments I've lived over the past 3 months. How they altered my brain chemistry forever, how far I've come personally, and how that all came to an end that night. No more waking up to go to the beach, no more spending days driving around on some cheap scooters, and no more tropical islands. It had to end at some point. But I also felt glad and grateful. I got what I wanted out of this trip so far, and I feel like I'm just a better version of myself. Not a different person, just more in touch with who I am and who I want to be. But before closing out my backpacking trip, I still got one more stop left. Japan. I'm incredibly excited to go to Japan. No one who's backpacking really goes there, so I'm really eager to see what the vibe is like over there. I've already been to Korea and I loved it, so I'm sure I'll love Japan just as much. So stay tuned to find out. Until then, take care, see ya, bye bye.